Hey guys, welcome back to Skylanders Ring of Heroes. Now, sorry I'm a bit late with this video. I did set some time aside to make a video when the patch did drop. However, the service just kept crashing on me and I couldn't log in and I just couldn't make the video. So this is the first time I've had to do it since then. So there's two main things that I do want to cover, and that is the new farming with all the new Skylanders from Adventure Mode, the guaranteed drops, all that sort of stuff. And then also the level cap being 70 for no matter what star rank you are is pretty big. So I want to go through those two things mainly and just do a bit of a discussion about them. So the first one we'll jump into is every Skylander being able to reach level 70. Now this is a huge change. There's a lot of unknown in it for me at the moment. If you guys have more information, please put it in the comments, and if we get enough information, I'll make another video about it. But we don't know how the stats are actually dispersed, because everything can reach level 70 now, whether they're 5-star, 4-star, like anything. It makes it really interesting for how the stats are going to be distributed, whether there's more weight on the level or whether they've taken some of the stat weight from the level and moved it into the star ranks and stuff like that. So obviously everything you do is going to give you more stats. So we're going to be able to get more stats out of our Skylanders by getting them to level 70 earlier. However, you're still going to be missing some stats that you would have got from obviously your 6-star and plus 5s. So the one good thing is that I do think that this change makes a massive difference to obviously natural 5-star units. Now you can summon a natural 5-star and actually get some use out of it, because you can get it to that extra level cap and get those increased stats for them. For instance, like my Stormblade, you can see at level 60, stats are fairly low, the attack's low, HP is low, but once you get that to 70, the stats will actually be fairly decent. And the other thing this really opens up to is the idea of awakening before evolving. So prior to this, 9 times out of 10, I would recommend, this was before the patch obviously, I would have recommended 6-starring before you awaken, because you wanted to get to level 70 to get those extra stats. However, now that you can get to level 70, I feel like the star ranks and power-ups, the evolution power-ups, are more just an extra stat boost. So actually awakening before getting 6-star is a much more viable option now. So as you can see, I've actually awakened my Gear Shift and I've awakened the Super Shot Stealth Elf. These were both the ones that I was going to do before the patch anyway. I was going to awaken before 6-star, but now it just makes these decisions a completely no-brainer option for me, because you still get those extra stats from getting to level 70 once you do level them. But now you get the added value of their awakening skill. So yes, I think the stat boost from using 300 stones on power-ups and evolutions, I feel like that stat boost would be greater than the awakening stat boost, but I feel like at the moment it wouldn't be too much difference. Just from, I'm not going to go into too depth, but just looking at the stat changes from the awakening of my Deja Vu here compared to the power-ups with the evolves, I feel like the power-up and evolving would give a little bit more stats, but awakening still gives pretty decent stats, and also you get the evolution skill, which the awakening skill, which is a big part of it now. Something like Deja Vu, I'm really tossing up what I'm going to do with it, because she doesn't really need her awakening skill for most content, so I might just power up. I've got a fair few shards of her, but I'm sort of leaving it there. I think I might actually just awaken her first, because I do want to test a few things with her awakening skill, with the strip and stuff like that. So yeah, well, I'll play around with that. But for a lot of units now, I feel like 5-star awaken is definitely a better option. As for like say 2-star awaken versus 5 or 6-star, still not sure. I think it might be. I feel like the new requirement may be to get 5-star then awaken. Just because I feel like you will lose a fair few stats on cheap power-ups and cheap evolutions, because when you're really low, like let's look at a 3-star for instance, your power-ups are actually really cheap. So I wouldn't be avoiding these cheap 5-shard power-ups to save for an awakening. I feel like now 5-star is going to be the spot. But like I said, this is all speculation at the moment. Once we do get more information, I'll try and make a more definitive video about that. But overall, 5-star awaken seems to be the way to go, especially if you do want to use the awakening skill And obviously now it does give the option. Also, we do have the this Master Eon event where you can get 250 shards for any Nat 5. That is fantastic. Now you can actually get your Nat 5. If you go this route, you 250 extra shards if you've already got the Nat 5. That only puts you 50 away from Awakening if you didn't have any spare shards. So you can get a Nat 5 Awakened, still only 5-star, but at level 70. So you can get all the benefits of their Awakening skill and have those stat boosts from level 70. So it's really, really nice, this change. As for which unit to take, I'm not going to say anything. It's just the standard good units. Like, if you want to try something different, try something different. I feel like Spitfire is still going to be a great option to do. Obviously, Astro Blast is huge in Arena. Ember's doing big things in B10, but I feel like Spitfire may be the one that I'll go with. I don't even have him yet, but just to get him and to make him work in B10, because I think he will be a great unit in B10. So that's probably what I'll go for. But yeah, take whatever you want. But it's a great feature in this to be able to do it and get an Awakened effective Nat 5. Another option could be just pick a unit that you think will be good in PvP, and hopefully we can get a good free-to-play B10 team, and then you're one step ahead in Arena. But that's those. The next thing I want to talk about is farming. So farming got some pretty big changes. Obviously, okay, the first thing I do want to say is if you're farming the boss stages, these Omni Gems, they can be sold. I hope they change that, because it's really annoying. The first time I did it, I actually just clicked sell all like you always do to get rid of the runes, not realizing, and I actually sold all my Omni Gems. Don't do that. Be really careful when you do it. Hopefully most people have picked up on it by now, because I'm a bit late getting this video out, but they can be sold at the moment. I hope they change it, because it's really annoying, but just be careful. As for farming, it's basically optimally now, because every stage has 10 guaranteed drops. If you're playing super, super efficiently and you have a lot of time, I think ideally you'd want to farm the 10 to 15 fragments. Obviously hard, you only get 10. Easy, normally you get 15. I feel like you want to farm every Skylander, all of these, every day. Now, my thing is, I feel like that's going to cause massive burnout, because it's not really fun content to do. It's nice to get guaranteed shards, but it's definitely not fun doing that grind. I mean, the daily boss grind was was burning me out, so I quit that. And that was taking about an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. When you include that you've got to do an extra 10 to 15 runs of every scenario on top of that, you're looking at about a 6-hour grind per day, just to get shards. So my recommendation is pick the next 2 or 3 units, or obviously if you're happy doing all of them or as many of them as you can, then go nuts. But if you don't have the time or you're feeling burnt out, pick the next 2 or 3 units that you will be building and go with those. For me, I'm actually not doing all the hard modes either. I'm only going to be focusing on, just because like I said, it's a serious case of burnout with all the farming. So I'm only going to be getting the blue support Omni Gems. I know people say, but why not get all the purple ones? Obviously, once you can do hard mode on stage, on scenario 9 and 10, you can get legendary Omni Gems. So I definitely recommend doing those if you can do them. But like I said, I'm just going for the blue support Omni Gems and the blue ones from easy over here. Just because I'm working on my Deja Vu, she's not farmable, so I'm getting everything that I can use to put into her. And then I'm picking a few units that I want to farm. So the first one I'm doing is Gear Shift. I think Gear Shift's amazing. I did awaken her. Mine isn't quite there for effectiveness yet. She's got a big rune requirement. I will do a video on Gear Shift later. But yeah, she's one that I'm farming. The others I'm looking at is I'm just doing Ninjini just to finish her off. And I did Kaboom for a little bit to finish him off. And then also what I was doing the hard mode ones. All the hard mode ones I could do, because at the moment I just need experience to level my units. So I was going through all the hard modes because they give better experience and doing all those, but I won't continue doing that. Washbuckler is one that I'm really curious about, so I'll probably keep farming him. And those will be my main 3 or 4 that I do farm. And besides that, there is a lot of good units, but like I said, it's just too much for me. So I'm not going to be doing all the units, because I think I'd just drive myself crazy doing that and probably end up giving up, because it's way too much. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. I just want to talk about a couple new units that are farmable, and the idea of actually rushing a unit, so going past the daily cap. So for most people, if you're playing really efficiently, I'd say just do your the daily cap on as many units as you want, and then that's the most efficient way to do it. However, for early game players, I definitely think rushing things like your Stealth Elf, your Boomer, your Wham Shell. We do have Chill now as well as a farmable unit, which is really good. I still think for early game, I do like the Wham Shell. I haven't tested Chill in B9, but in B9, I find often what happens is your Boomer dies and your Wham Shell solos the boss because he's got really good damage. I don't think Chill's damage is quite as high. However, the Chill with the focus aggro might be able to negate a lot of that damage from the Boomer and make it effective. So that's one I'm not too sure about. So you can pick one of those two. Like I said, I think I'd still go Wham Shell, but I'm not 100% sure. I definitely think Chill's going to be better later on. But hey, because you can do 15 per day guaranteed, you can go any one of them. But like I said, early players, I don't think it's a bad thing to rush a unit. Because you need those units, like say Stealth Elf early game is really good for progression. So rushing a Stealth Elf is not a bad option in my opinion early game. However, for later game, if you're farming like B8, B9 and you need runes for progression, I feel like it's better just to do your daily cap on the farming and then go back to farming that B8 or B9 and getting the better runes. I feel like that's better use of your energy than sitting there getting low drop rates from these units. Because early game, you get your best runes from farming scenarios, and you're not really worried about farming the Beast Labyrinth. I feel like rushing a unit is then a better option. But that's just me. That's what I reckon the most efficient ways of doing it are. Like I said, if you've got the time, for by all means, rush the units. There's one other that I really wanted to bring note to, actually, just while I'm thinking of it, and that is Flashwing. Flashwing is now farmable, and she was an absolute beast on the soft launch server. Just the healing output of her is huge. She's got the resistance buff, which is really nice. She's got an AoE strip with skill ups. And yeah, she's an amazing unit. And the other one that I was really excited became farmable is the Cinder. Now, Cinder is one of my favorite units in this game. I did 6-star her on the soft launch server, and I absolutely love her. I max skilled her second skill. It just becomes an absolute huge skill. I'll just go into her quickly. I do have a video of Cinder, but it's a bit dated, so I might make another one about her later on. But she's amazing. So this skill ignores defense, gives her a drain. It does huge amounts of damage, skills up to be a 4 mana cost. And the 6-second cooldown is really nice. You couple that with this first skill, which gains ignore defense as well. It's got a very low multiplier, so it's not great, but it's got a really high multiplier. Also, they did put the initial cooldown here, so you can see how quick you can use the ability at the start of the fight. That's another really cool feature that I do like. But because this skill is a 1 mana cost on a 10-second cooldown, it's actually really nice that you can use this skill 2 into skill 1 and actually outspeed units that have the 11-second cooldown and get 2 skills in before anyone else attacks. Obviously, this skill, when awakened, it will do better damage because it ignores some defense. But like I said, it's not a great multiplier. But the other amazing thing about it is that it is a disrupt, which is really huge. A 1 mana disrupt is going to be amazing in the in all those guild invasions. So really great unit. I definitely think do the dailies ones of her. She is the other one that I forgot to mention that I am doing daily. Just because I do think she's an amazing unit, and she looks like an absolute beast when awakened. So I can't wait to do that. The one problem with like a lot of units that you're going to be looking at farming is the fundamental issue for me at the moment is skill ups. Like skill ups are so rare, and it just makes like a lot of units you really need those skill ups to make them half viable. Kind of like Cinder, 6 mana cost just doesn't make this skill that great. But you drop it down to a 4 and it's really amazing. So I just really hope they do something about skill ups because the drought is real on skill ups. And it feels like it's taking forever just to skill something up. So that's the issue with that, but definitely a great unit to farm. Just do your daily ones and get her there eventually because I think she's going to be a really good option for Arena. You look at something like Astro Blast with that 6-second cooldown, you can speed tie with the Cinder and definitely, I'd say, 100% kill that Astro Blast if you crit. So that's one to look at. That's going to be the end of this video, guys. Like I said, sorry I was a bit late with this one. The servers crashing just really did screw up my plans. But hopefully I'll get a couple more videos out this week. Like I said, I really want to do a gear shift one, and I want to do one talking about Whirlwind, the sort of after awakening her, how I feel about the awakening and all that sort of stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.